I also want to make another disclaimer. If you don't like spoilers, then don't watch my videos. So yeah, let me recap. Yeah, 3.5 stars. The pacing was slow. The ending was terrible because like it was not happy, and the best things about it were just the support they were able to give to each other, and that they were able to handle their responsibility so well, even though it did threaten to break them at certain times. And yeah, that was pretty much it. Hey y'all, it's me Krista, and I'm back with yet another book review, and this is going to be a book review on Forbidden by Tabitha. So this is one of the books that I just recently got, and you would know that if you watched my July book haul. I'll like put it in the link like down below just in case you're curious on what other books I got. But yeah, so this is one of the books I got, and one of the books that I was like kind of the most excited to read about because there were like a lot of good reviews on it. So I was curious to see what it was like really about, because sometimes the like plot summaries aren't very accurate. Okay, so I will tell you guys though, the plot summary is very accurate. Okay, so let me put a little disclaimer. So this book is actually really intended for more mature audiences, so I wouldn't recommend this book to anyone under the age of like 15-16. I just think that it's really like not only does it have like an adult scene, but the like storyline and the plot and like the concepts within it are very like mature, and I think that a lot of like young teenagers wouldn't be able to like really handle some of the stuff that's going on, because there is like a lot of like deep stuff going on underneath like the surface of the book. So I think it is for someone who is more mature, and if you think you're mature, then go ahead and read it, but just don't say I didn't warn you. I also want to make another disclaimer. If you don't like spoilers, then don't watch my videos, because my videos are full of spoilers. Because when I think of a book review, I'm reviewing the book and I'm telling you what I thought about it and what parts I liked, what parts I didn't like, and stuff like that. If you want like a very vague description of the book, then go read the plot summary on Amazon, because this is a book review. It's not a plot summary, okay? If you want to know. So I just wanted to like get that out there, because I'm tired of saying every video, oh, spoiler alert now, spoiler alert, oh, if you don't want to get spoiled, skip ahead. Like, I'm tired of saying that because it's just ridiculous. Like, I'm trying to tell you guys what I thought about the book and what I liked about it and what I didn't. So just be ready for some spoilers. So where do I even begin with this book? Okay, so this book was like, it was crazy, okay, because I'm gonna tell you guys, like, the first chapter was good. That's what made me like or not made me, because the plot made me buy the book, but the first chapter made it okay. Like, it like really made me decide to buy the book, because I was like, okay, this isn't that bad, I could do this. Okay, so I read the first chapter and it was pretty good, but after that it kind of slows down a little bit. I will have to say that is that like the first 200 pages of the book are very slow paced, and it took me a while, like, because I've been reading this book for like maybe a week now, and it's just was very difficult for me to like get through the first like 250 pages, because they were like, I don't want to say boring, but they were very like little bit of action. It wasn't really anything too exciting going on, but The reason why is because it's really setting the scene. Like, it's giving you a glimpse into their life of why what happens, you know? So it did make me want to like kind of give up on the book. I almost wanted to stop reading it a couple times because it was just like too slow and like too boring, and I was like, come on dude, like where's the action? And then I remembered what the plot was about, and I was like, okay, brother falls in love with his sister, should I be asking for action, you know? But then it's like, you're still reading a book, you still want to be entertained. Like, even if it is about this, you still want to be entertained, so you still need some kind of action, but there is more action slash excitement like later on in the like second half of the book, honestly. So if you're able to get through that, and that really shows, if you really want to read the book, you'll get through those 200 pages, and that's just that, you know? There's always something you gotta put up with there's always something you gotta put up with, and that's just this book's thing that you gotta put up with if you want to read it. So prepare for that, you guys, and also prepare for prepare for a lot of strange feelings that you never thought about before, because with this book it's like different from any other, like, because this is considered like a romance novel still, even if it's kind of like a drama slash romance novel, it's still a romance novel because the two characters do fall in love, but the two characters falling in love are brother and sister, so it is a very different kind of romance, and it's a very different kind of like forbidden romance, you know? So you're gonna be like, if you get into the story, you're gonna probably root for them to be together, but then at the same time you're like, wait, no, like I can't root for them to be together because they're brother and sister, you know? But then just the way the book goes about it, it presents like their relationship in a way that makes you totally understand how it happened. It's just because normally two teenage siblings are obviously not going to like fall in love or feel any type of like romantic feelings towards each other, because like you're just taught that that's not okay from like the moment you grow up, you know? Even if you do have brothers, there's a certain point in your like childhood that it's not okay to take baths together anymore. It's not okay for you guys to sleep in the same room together. It's not okay for you guys to do this or for you to do that. You realize that, okay, well, she's a boy. I mean, like, you can't be as close as you once were because now you guys are growing up. Sorry, my cat is like scratching the bed. Come here. But yeah, that's when you just realize that it's not okay for you guys to do certain things together anymore because it's just basically not appropriate. So that's just kind of like a big thing in this whole like thing, is because they've grown up always feeling so close and so connected. Okay, I just want to apologize for that slight interruption. My cat was just, well, like all three of them were just like acting a fool right now, so I had to like put them out of the room because I'm trying to film a book review right now. Like, please do not disturb me. So anyway, where was I? But yeah, so under like normal circumstances, two teenage siblings are not going to fall in love, you know? So the reason why these do is because like their parents are very like absent from their lives, and the mother is very like irresponsible, and she's kind of like chasing her youth in a way, so she kind of leaves the kids to fend for themselves. So obviously the two oldest ones have to kind of step up and step into the role of mother and father for the little ones, and so that's kind of what prompts them to like feel this type of way. And another reason is also because the main guy character, Locan, I think that's how you say his name. I really wasn't positive at all, like the whole entire time. I was just like, but like I'm pretty sure it was like Loken. He's a very smart boy, but he is very shy and probably suffers from like social anxiety or something. And he has a lot of difficulties making friends his own age. So, and even trouble like talking in class and stuff, you know? So even though he is at a regular school with girls who think he is attractive, he's too shy and anxious to talk to any of them. So it just pushes him further into his shell. And Maya, she has plenty of opportunities to talk to other guys at the school, but for some reason she is just really attracted to her own brother. And like, I don't know, it's just, I guess the only way I can make sense of it is just that like they were very close their entire life, and now that they are like taking care of their younger siblings together, it kind of puts them into that place where they look at each other as like, oh, that's the mom, that's the dad, that's husband, that's my wife, you know? So it kind of puts it like that. And then plus they lean on each other a lot for support because they're the two eldest ones. So who else can you lean on for? You can't lean on the little 5-year-old or the little 13-year-old, you know? So it kind of makes sense in that aspect. So that's kind of what makes it understandable. But society has just put so much of like a taboo on like incestuous relationships that it's clear that nothing positive is really going to come from it, because society's just not going to accept it. Now if society didn't know that they were related and they thought that they were just any normal two people, then they wouldn't have a problem with it. But as soon as you say, oh, this is my brother but also my boyfriend, there's kind of an issue with it, just because of the way we are, just because of the way we've developed as a society. And also because like obviously as humans evolve, they evolve by what helps them and what makes them a stronger breed. And so whenever you obviously interbreed with like close relatives, your children are not going to be as genetically fit. You know, it's only going to ruin the genes the closer the two like parents are, you know? So there's one thing, yeah, first cousins may be okay, but also they're kind of further apart than brother and sister. So if you were to have brother and sister be together and create a child, that child is probably going to have a lot of genetic defects just because of how close their genes are. So that is another reason why society says that this isn't okay. And also because the brother is supposed to be a protector of the sister, you know, just like the man is supposed to be protector of the woman according to like ancient society laws, you know. So it's just taboo, like compared to everything we've ever been taught as a civilization. And yes, there are many times in like ancient cultures and stuff where like brother and sister were wed to keep the bloodlines pure, but then obviously that had its own issues. And even with like Game of Thrones and like the Targaryen family, like they wed brother to sister, but then also they came out mad like crazy, you know. And just like even King Tut, they even said that King Tut's parents might have been brother and sister, and look at him, he had like all kinds of like physical deformities because of it, you know. So it's just like there's a very fine line you walk in accepting like incestuous relationships, and this book walks that fine line, you know. So I don't know where I stand on it, because it is a very like complicated subject, and one of my things is just like, well, if it doesn't apply to me, I'm going to stay out of it. Just like abortions, like people feel so strongly against having abortions, But if you're not going to have an abortion, why do you care if that woman does? You know, you don't know her situation. Perhaps she can't take care of a child right now, and perhaps that's the best thing for both of them. So who are you to say no, she cannot do that, you know? So I'm not going to have an incestuous relationship. But if you think that's like going to benefit you, then okay, as long as both parties are okay with it. And I guess it's like, just try not to have children, because you just don't want them to have physical and mental deformities because of it, and then be picked on the rest of their life, or not be able to live a full life and be able to enjoy all of the pleasures that come along with life and living on earth, you know? So that's just like my take on that. So I'm gonna get back to like the plot of the story and stuff. But basically, so yeah, so the first 200 pages were really slow. It was just really the build up and showing how close Locan and Maya were and how much they depended on each other. And also it was showing how often the mother was gone and how much she didn't care about her children. So that was really what the first 200 pages were about. There wasn't that much like action between them two, but the main thing that set off like I guess their intimate relationship is whenever Maya had a date with a boy from school, and that's when Locan realized that his feelings towards her weren't just like sisterly or brotherly, you know? So that's when he realized that he might have really been like in love with her. So that's when the book kind of made it like a turn into that direction. And I think that's also when they had their first kiss. So that's like also like a big turning point in the story. So yeah, so then after that they basically start to date in like secret, and they realize like the whole entire time Locan is basically telling Maya that this is not okay, we shouldn't be feeling like this about each other, like this isn't right. And if anything, in the UK, and I don't know where else, I never looked it up because it's never been like an issue for me, but apparently in the UK it is illegal and like punishable by prison time to be in an incestuous relationship. So that's also like another big reason why he's trying to avoid it as much as possible, besides the like moral reasons. But Maya is very into like the relationship, and she loves him very much, and she makes that very clear from the beginning that she wants him and that she doesn't care about the consequences basically. But like Locan's biggest thing is we have to do what is right for the children. And it just sucks that two kids are kids, that's what they really are, you know, like two kids are put into a position where they have to feel like they have to take care of like the children, which are really their younger siblings, you know. And I know there's a lot of people out there who do have to take care of their siblings because their mother may not be fully capable, whether it's because she doesn't want to be, or maybe she has some kind of disability to where she can't. So it's just, it goes both ways. It's just it's hard when you put into that position to where you have to take care of the kids and you have to put everything before yourself basically, you know, them. You have to think about paying bills. Like no kid at like 16, 17 should be worried about paying bills. They should be worried about having fun, you know, and just like living life, because I mean once you turn 18 then you can worry about paying bills, because that's when your adult life gets started. You shouldn't have to worry about adult things before you become an adult, because the teenage mind and the child mind really isn't developed enough to handle mature adult things. And this is definitely like a mature adult thing, and that's why I said that only like mature or like older like teenagers, if you're gonna read this, like yeah, be like 15 or 16 or like very, very mature, because it's got a lot of mature things going on, and a lot of things that like younger kids won't really understand, like the depth of, you know. So I think that's like an important like disclaimer to make, you know. And you won't really get the full what the author really meant to say. You won't really understand like the true meaning of the book until you're old enough to understand like how it happens and why and all that, you know. So I would definitely recommend you being older to read the book. But yeah, so back to what I was saying. So then they start basically their relationship, and they keep it secret, and Locan tries to stay away from Maya, but it only ends up hurting both of them. So they just make the decision to be together anyways, no matter the consequences. And they kind of they make various like plans throughout the story, like, oh, we're only gonna talk to each other this day, and oh, only do this or only do that, you know. They keep making like lines that they shouldn't cross, but then of course like their feelings for each other are growing so fast and so strong that it's kind of difficult not to cross those lines, you know. So that's also like a big thing that they have to struggle with the entire book, is knowing that what we are doing is morally wrong, but we don't care, because, or we do care, but we feel like we can't fight against our feelings, you know. And so that's a very like difficult like line to walk, because that's true of anything. It's like, you know what you're doing is wrong, but then you're going to do it anyways, you know. So it's very complicated, and so is this book, you know, because there are times that I found myself like wishing that like Locan and Maya could be together and could be happy, and everything could be alright, and they could still take care of their younger siblings, and everything would be okay for them. But then at the same time, it's just hard, because you're just taught that this is wrong. So even as I'm reading it and I'm seeing how in love they are with each other, because it shows you both sides, like we read it from Locan's and from Maya's point of view, so you see how consensual it is on both sides. So it's just difficult when everything you're taught is telling you that it's wrong, when inside you feel like it's so right, you know. So like that's like a very like difficult part of reading this book that you kind of have to deal with, you know. But anyways, so yeah, so onwards. So as the story develops, they fall more and more in love with each other, and it only gets harder for them to stay apart. So obviously they start making compromises, like, well, now let's take a day off together, or let's they're finding secret moments when they could be together, you know. And then towards the end, they actually start like sleeping in each other's rooms at night, you know. So it's just like as time progresses, so does their relationship, which is like obviously like the case in any other normal relationship. But when it's in this kind of relationship, it's kind of like, whoa, you know. But it's just the stigma that comes attached with like incestuous relationships. It cannot be helped, honestly, and society is never going to change its views on incest. So it's kind of like, what do, you know? So basically Locan and Maya have this plan to just bear through it now, and then when they're both older and so are the kids, and social services can't bother them, that they'll be together, and they'll change their names and they'll move, and they'll be happily ever after, whatever, you know. But it doesn't work out like that at all. So apparently Kit is the 13-year-old brother. He's really rebellious in the majority of the book, but towards the end, as Locan and Maya get closer intimately, they also let up on the kids kind of, and they're not as stressed out. So Locan moves from being the domineering father authority figure to Kit, to being able to see things from his like point of view, and to kind of understand where Kit is coming from, because Kit is going through the same thing as they are. Like, his mother is still like avoiding them and not coming home and not talking to them, and he is having to take orders from his brother, who's only like 4 years older than him, but he's still at that rebellious age where he doesn't want to listen to what anyone's saying, you know? So it's kind of like hard to deal with that too, because you're 17 years old. How are you supposed to discipline a 13-year-old, you know? So it's like, it's an understandable struggle, okay? So basically, Kit learns of Maya and Locan's relationship, but he keeps it to himself. He really doesn't intend on saying anything until the end, the very end. I'm sorry if I'm spoiling stuff, but once I said it, and I'm not gonna say it again. I don't care if you get offended by my spoiling of the book, because I already said I was going to do it. So if you're still here, it's on you, okay? But yeah, so basically Kit gets mad that Locan went behind his back and told the gym teacher that Kit was afraid of heights, so do not take him rock climbing, which was part of the field trip that they were going on. And so the teacher, not thinking anything of it, surely, said it in front of the whole class, you know? So Kit was obviously embarrassed, and his friends laughed at him, and so he thought that the perfect way to get back at Locan was to basically tell their mother that what was going on, and that Locan and Maya were having an intimate relationship, you know? So the mother just so happens to walk up to the house when Locan and Maya are being physically like intimate with like penetration for like the first time. So the mother walks in and sees that, and from the way she must have heard it from Kit is that, like, I don't know how Kit must have like explained it to her, but he must not have explained that it was like consensual, because the mother thought that Locan was hurting Maya and like stuff like that. So like she called the cops and got the cops involved, and so the cops came and took Locan away. But Locan, he's trying, even now he's still trying to protect his sister, and he's like, well, she's also facing prison time if they find out that this is a consensual relationship. Whether it's like consensual or not, you're still committing a crime in the UK, so you still gotta go to jail, you know? So he's basically trying to save her from going to jail by saying that it was all his idea and he forced himself on her, basically. So that's like the whole plan, you know? But then Maya is so in love with him that she's not just gonna let him take the fall by himself, you know? So she makes a signed statement saying that it was consensual, you know? So that kind of complicates things on Locan's end of the end, because his main reason and his main purpose is to save his siblings from any kind of trouble, any kind of danger, and obviously Maya going to prison would endanger her in some way, you know? So that kind of like messes up his whole entire plan. So he comes up with another one, and oh my gosh, guys, so Locan literally, like, I'm not gonna say it, but he does not make it to the end of the book, and he thinks what he is doing is to help Maya, but if anything, it only pushes her further down past the point of like no return, to where she wants to join him in death, basically. But then the whole reason why he did it was to sacrifice himself so that Maya can still be there for the children, because he knows even after everything that goes on, the mother is still not going to be there for the kids, you know? so there's still going to be no one to take care of them if both of them go away. So that's his way of thinking, is that he still has to protect the kids, you know. So that would just basically do away with the whole ultimate sacrifice thing, you know. So Maya ultimately makes the decision to try to live for him and to deal with it and just move on with her life, you know. So it was very crazy. The book is definitely a emotional roller coaster. There are times when you're going to not like what is going on. There's times when you're gonna like what is going on. There's times when you're just not even gonna know what to think. And I mean, that's okay. A book should challenge you, and a book should make you think about, like, not things you never thought before, but a book should challenge you in some way, and it should, like, open your mind up to thinking that maybe this world isn't so white and black, because it's really not. This world is just like 1,000 different shades of like gray and every color in between, you know, because nothing is clear cut on this planet, honestly, you know. Even regular relationships are not so easy, and definitely this one has like its own problems. So it's just it's a very interesting book, I will say that, and it is probably going to be unlike any other book you've ever read. And even even if you've read other books about like incestuous relationships or whatever, this is truly a different kind, because normally it's like some kind of plot to where it's just the family and they're like isolated, so obviously the two siblings are gonna turn to each other for like, because they're gonna get hormones obviously, and they're gonna get urges, and if that's the only person there, like, something's obviously gonna happen, you know. But it's just interesting that in this book that they do have like a whole world around them. They're not on some farm like 50 miles away from like the nearest town or the nearest neighbor. Okay, sorry guys, my camera just like died on me. I was like talking for a very long time, so obviously it just died. Okay, but I plugged it in, so I'm going to start off where I left off, but I'm going to wrap it up because I'm basically almost finished now. Okay, so where was I? But yeah, so basically so as I was saying, I think, so yeah, so this book is very different than other books, especially the situation between the two siblings, and they're not on some isolated farmhouse or in some isolated like anything. They're literally in a public school where they have access to other kids. So this relationship is purely like consensual, and they had opportunities to find other people, but they just like each other the best, and that's like the only way you could really like explain it. Okay, and also like the whole thing with like the parents being gone and them like stepping into like the parents role also obviously has a big like influence on why they develop these type of feelings for each other, and especially with the parents being so like absent all the time, it kind of gave them the freedom to do what they want and to build this relationship, because obviously if your mom is there, you're gonna be like more leery about trying to find time to like be together and like do stuff, you know. So obviously the mother wasn't there to stop any of this from going on, so like it's just a thing that like happens in some cases, you know. So I don't know, like take what you will from the book, take what you will from my book review, and I don't know, take what you will from society's views that you're just taught, you know, because just like animals, like animals don't know the difference between right and wrong because they're not really taught, but society has a very big rule book on what is right and what is wrong, no matter what culture you're in, kind of. You know, there are like a few things that are just like really like universal, and I think incestuous relationships are kind of in that realm of things, you know. I can say I enjoyed the book. There were a few things that I would have changed or that I would have done differently if I was like the author, but obviously I'm not. Full respect to Tabitha Suzuma, and I appreciate that she took her time to write a story as fascinating as this, and a story that challenges its readers to think in ways that they've never thought before. So I will applaud her for that, because it was really crazy and something I've never read before. Now, I'm not gonna go around like, ooh, like, oh, my sister looks hot or something, you know. I'm really not. It's just that, like, it's an interesting book and it's an interesting plot, you know. Like, there's not too many authors that will write books about this because they know how people will perceive him. So it's like basically like social suicide to talk anything about incestuous relationships, you know. So I very big tip my hat to her for stepping out of her comfort zone and not caring what other people in like the book community are going to think about her, because it really takes courage to write a book that you know a lot of people may not like and that is going to cause a lot of controversy, you know. So I hats off to her, you know. So I just want to finish this off by saying that if I had to give this book stars, like if I had to rank this book if I had to rate this book from 1 to 5 stars, I would probably give it a 3.5, because basically there were a lot of points I liked, but the few points that I didn't like was how the first 200 pages they are very slow paced. It made me want to stop reading at a couple points. So that is like a big thing that kind of like influenced my like ranking of the book or my rating of the book, because I want a book that I want to like tear through. It shouldn't take me 7 days to read a 400-page book. You know, it really shouldn't. It's just that I was not interested in the first 200 pages, you know. But then when I got to the last 100 pages, I couldn't put it down, you know. So it's just obviously that just plays a big part in like why I gave it 3.5 stars. And then also because of the ending. I really hate sad endings. I like happy endings. So that's another reason. But obviously every book can have a happy ending. And even this one, like what did you really expect? You know? Like, but even this book, as it is still trying to show you that like shit like this does happen, it's not always a happy ending for everybody involved, you know? Like, everybody involved still is going to walk away with trauma from this, you know? Like, Loken's dead. The sister wants to be dead, or Maya wants to be dead. Kit feels incredibly guilty about telling his mom, you know? Now Tiffin is going to grow up without, like, his brother, and so is Willa. Even if they are younger, they're still going to feel a hole kind of from where Loken was, especially with how big of an influence he was in their life, you know? And another thing that made me rate the book so poorly was because Loken's character, he was so strong at home, but then he was weak in public and at school, you know, and he tried his best to be strong, but it's just that, like, it just sucks, you know. And then another reason is also it's like he thinks he's making this big sacrifice, and for what? You know, it's like in his mind, he's going to kill himself so that Maya doesn't have to go to jail. But Maya was in love with you. She would have literally done anything for you. You know, so even if they sentenced them both because it was consensual, even if they like sentenced them based on that, they would have both still got 2 to 5 years in prison or whatever, you know? You can do 2 to 5 years in prison if you really love that person and if you're willing to do that, you know? So I just thought that it was very unnecessary in a way, you know? Like, that wasn't called for. Like, he didn't have to do that, you know? And it just sucks because he could have had that happy ending that he was praying for and that he was wishing for, because even if they would have ruled it upon like it being like rape or whatever, he still would have got like 10 years. So Maya could have sent him letters, could have visited him, could have talked to him the whole 10 years that he was in jail. They could have continued their relationship even if she would have had to write him under a different name, you know? So the relationship still could have worked. So it's just made it kind of ridiculous for him to go and kill himself over something that wasn't decided. Like, he really hadn't been sentenced, so he didn't know how much time he was facing. So it's like, at least like, yeah, I would have understood him doing that if they would have literally gave him life. Like, if it was like life without the possibility of parole, okay, I see why you did that. If it was 30, 40, 50 years, I understand, because that is obviously you're not going to see her till you guys are like 60 years old, you know? So it's just like, I understand that. But if you were given anything under 20 years, you could have worked through it. And I know everybody has a different tolerance level of what they're able to deal with, but I honestly think that he could have, like, the way the book painted him, he could have dealt with it, in my opinion. And so the fact that he kind of, I don't want to say he took the easy way out, because that is obviously not an easy thing to do at all, but he kind of just the ending wasn't satisfying at all because of that. I think there could have been more to the story, and it could have gone in such like a different way if he wouldn't have just done that. Because once you kill yourself, that's it. That's like, it's so like final. There's no, well, maybe this could have happened, or maybe that could have happened, or maybe everything could have worked out in the end. But now you will never know because you cut it off before you could find out, you know? So that was just kind of the biggest issue I had with the book, besides the slow pacing in the beginning. And that's just my personal opinion. You can feel however you want to feel about that, but this is my opinion, this is my book review, this is how I feel. Okay, so yeah. And my favorite things about the book is how Locan and Maya were able to lean on each other, because it is obviously a very difficult thing taking care of kids by yourself while you're still a kid yourself, and while you're still going to school. You're still thinking about, oh, I have to do well on my test so I could get into a good college. They're still thinking about their careers, and there's so many struggles that they're dealing with in their own life. And I felt it, like, it was nice that they were able to lean on each other in like this time and find strength in each other, you know, even if it was like, oh, in a inappropriate to society's rule book kind of way, you know. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I can say about the book, and I think I've said enough. I've been going on for quite some time, but it is a very complicated book with very complicated feelings and stuff, you know. So that's all I can say. But yeah, so if this sounds like an interesting book to you, go pick it up, even though I've already spoiled like the majority of it. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. But yeah, I know I'm gonna think of more stuff when I get done, but that is it for as of right now. So that's it for today. Once again, the book is Forbidden by Tabitha Suzuma. And if you want to read it, you know where to buy it. Just like Amazon, go like look it up, whatever, like that's on you. And I hope you enjoyed this book review, and that's it for today. So if you guys liked that book review, I'm always coming out with more. I'm going to be hopefully I'm going to start A Curse So Dark and Lovely today, and hopefully if it's interesting, I'll finish it by like Sunday, because on Sunday I plan to do a 24-hour readathon. And yeah, and also I'm getting some albums on Monday, so I will be doing like an unboxing video for those. So stick around if you like K-pop, because I bought like 7 albums, or I bought 8, but one of them is coming from literally like Japan, so it's gonna take forever. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for today. So like, comment, share, and subscribe, please. You do not know how much it means for you to like subscribe, because nobody subscribes, but it gives me like, it lets me know that you're watching and that you enjoy my content, because no matter what, I'm still going to continue to post, because I just like talking about stuff and letting stuff out of my chest, and just reading and just like talking about the books I read, because no one else wants to hear me. So it gives me like an outlet for my own personal like interest or whatever. So yeah, so please subscribe, because it means a lot to me. And leave comments down below. Tell me your thoughts on the book. Tell me your thoughts on what I said. Did you think I was right? Did you think I was wrong? Like when, how, why? Tell me all that good stuff. And yeah, that's it for today, and have a good day.